morning, YouTube. It's I again, and it was another exciting Leafs game last night. The Los Angeles Kings were in town to play the Buds, and they are outside of the Leafs. There's a couple teams that I like that I've developed a liking for over the years because the Leafs before the last couple years have had such a streak of being awful and not making the playoffs. So I'd always like to follow teams in the playoffs and have somebody to cheer for. So the Blackhawks became one of those teams, and the Los Angeles Kings were another one. And what I liked about them is that in an era when speed and skill and smaller players were becoming so rampant in the game, the Kings won a couple of cups with a bigger, more bruising type of team and kind of bucked that trend and managed to win in that fashion. And they're chock full of Canadian players too, big guys that like to hit and bang and stuff, and that's what I grew up on. As I love the violent side of hockey is one of my favorite parts of it. I love big hits, I love fights, and now the league's getting so far away from that. Anytime somebody throws a solid body check on somebody, it causes a big fucking kerfuffle. It's ridiculous. But anyways, that's something for another time. But last night, the Kings, I think have been struggling a bit so far this year, but they're still a really good team. They've got a lot of great players, and last night's game was probably one of the most evenly played games of the year that I've seen the Leafs partake in, despite the lopsided final score. The lineup was the same as the game beforehand, so they made no changes there. The only difference was that I guess at some point in their last game, Freddie Anderson must have tweaked his knee because he was out. He's out right now day to day with a knee injury. So Garrett Sparks now has the next handful of games, I guess, depending on how Freddie does in his recovery, to kind of make his mark on the backup position, which is his now that they've got rid of all the other guys. But it's time for him to be able to step up and impress, right? So he got the start last night. And everything was really even. The face-offs, the hits, the shots, block shots, everything was super even. But the score ended up being 4-1 Toronto, and you could tell that the Kings, being a bigger, slower team, the Leafs, when they did create some turnovers and transitioned the puck quickly, their speed killed the Kings. It was the goals scored were Kapanen on the top line with Matthews, and Marleau had 2 goals. One of them, he kind of banked it in from behind the net off the goalie, which is always a smart play. As dirty a goal as that can be, if you can pull it off, it's you just pull a goal out of thin air, right? And then his other one was a beautiful backhand goal on a feed from Matthews. And then the other 2 goals, Marleau finally got his first of the season, which again, it's nice to see another guy, getting on the board who hasn't scored yet. And you know what? I forget who got the 4th one, but Marner did on a beauty pass from Tavares. So yeah, the big guys are still racking up the points, but at the same time, they're getting secondary scoring throughout the lineup now, or at least not a ton of secondary scoring, but the chances are there. Last night, the Leafs rolled all 4 lines, and all of them looked like a threat. It was you can tell that once this team gets into the full swing of the season, and it's just go, that this it's crazy. Either the third line with Kadri and Brown and Lindholm looked really dangerous last night. Kadri looked he had a good jump to his game last night. Had a lot of chances and was all over the place. And then even the 4th line with Gauthier, Levo, and Andreas Janssen, they looked really good too. So when you got 4 lines that can all play and you don't really have to worry about it, it's it's going to be scary. So so 4-1 win. More great performances from the big guys and the other guys chipping in. Power play was 50% at 1 for 2, and the PK was perfect at 3 for 3. So, and Sparks had a great game. He made 33 saves or something like that and looked really good doing it. So bright spot there as well. So yeah, things just continue to roll along. That's 6 wins in the first 7 games of the season, and I expect them to win all the rest of them. Just kidding. But we'll be back again after the next game.